Hey everyone, it's Desiree. Today we are going to create a rainbow background, and then we're going to create the background using our A Tangled Moment stamp set. And after we create that rainbow, we might add some more accents with our inks to these blocks as well. But we're going to continuously stamp. So I will be using a stamp positioner. For my rainbow, I'm going to use my Distress inks to give it that distress look in the background. And the paper we're going to use is a Bristol cardstock. All right, so let's start by creating our rainbow background. And I'm going to create it going from left to right, or, basically making the stripes horizontal. So the colors that I have chosen out of the Distress inks are Worn Lipstick, Spiced Marmalade, Scattered Straw, Mowed Lawn, Peacock Feathers, and Wilted Violet. All right, so let's start with our Worn Lipstick. I'm going to use our traditional blender to get our color down. And I'm not going to be worried about the blend. I'm not looking to blend this because I'm going to add water to this as well. So I'm just going to keep adding our colors. And again, so not worried about the blend. Now you could use sprays with this. You could use your Distress oxides. You can use your other dye inks. Whatever you have in your stash. And you could also take the ink pad direct to paper. So that's something that you could do as well. Now finally, Wilted Violet. Now, since the Distress inks and your dye inks are water reactive, I'm just going to spritz this kind of generously because I do want those colors to move and create that splotchy look. Now I'm also going to use my heat tool so that this dries, and I will of course turn off the volume for that. Okay, and that's what our panel looks like. Just going to wiggle it, it's a technical term, just to get our cardstock a little flatter for when we put it into our stamp positioning tool. And we're going to set that down right there. And I'm going to work along the top half first. And I'm going to pull in one of my corners as well. We're going to work along that top half there. All right. So now I'm going to start with the point coming down. I think I'm going to start with this coming up front, and let's see if I have somewhat centered that. I am going to allow some gaps in between. I'm going to move my magnet down just a little bit. And we will put our next row in as well. And I also want to see, so I know they're there, so I'm going to grab this one, and you can see I'm going to kind of beat off just a little bit. So I'm going to take that down to the point there, and I'm going to shift this down just a little bit. And then I'm going to shift that down just a little bit, and there we go. So that's how they're going to lay, just to have it be somewhat centered so that we can see all of the design. And we'll put that like that. I'm going to shift up my magnet, and I'm going to make sure that that's in the corner. Now we're going to pick this up. And I'm going to use my Altenew Obsidian black ink, because I will be coming in with my clear embossing powder. So we're going to ink these up. And we're going to stamp down. And we're going to ink it one more time. sure we're in the corner. And we're going to stamp down. Great impression. So now I'm going to come in with my clear embossing powder. And you want to make sure your background is dry. Now, because I'm using clear, I'm not going to be too worried about it because I forgot to check that. Just a sec. Now, again, I'm going to turn off the volume while I heat set these. I'm going to flatten that card out just a little bit, and I'm going to turn it now. Make sure that's in there flat. And for this, I'm going to use part of the my packaging from the stamp set because, you know, they're still kind of inked up just a little bit. So I want to have time to play with them. And I'm going to change the direction. And I'm going to put that there. And let's see. Put that there. And we'll grab this one again. So I just flipped those. And we're going to put that there. I'm going to real quick clean these off using my chamois. Sorry for the squeaks. And we'll put these back on our carriage. And then we will pick these up. And we will do the same thing. We will ink these up now again. And then one more time. Wonderful. And same thing. Add our embossing powder and then heat set. Okay, and there is our panel. Now you can certainly put them closer. You could, you could line up these edges or make that thinner, however you would want that to look. I do like the spacing. I know there's a couple others that I showed with the same type of spacing, but especially for this one, I like that spacing because of, we have this beautiful rainbow style background sitting on our panel. I'm going to set that aside, and I'm going to add some double-sided tape, and I'm going to use my U-line double-sided tape. For those of you that have been here for some time, you've seen me use this before. I used a lot of water. I did a lot of heat embossing on this. So this panel is definitely pretty well warped. And I'm just going to add this tape. I find while it's not forgetting, the moment it touches paper, she stays in place. But I do find that she will flatten. She already has started to flatten this card panel. Now, before we do, I'm just going to grab a little piece of a silicone mat here. And I have my worn lipstick. And I'm grabbing a brush. I'm just going to put some ink down. Sorry about that, had to grab my water, and I'm just going to put some water here in my cup. And I'm just going to pick up some of this color, and I'm going to come back into each of the areas where we laid that color down and add some more of that ink. And then at the same time, while I'm here, I'm going to get some of the spiced marmalade. Grab my towel. And I'm going to put that in here as well, but I'm going to let these two mingle together. So we're going to get all of this wonderful color to come through. And we're going to do the same thing. Pick up some of the color. We're going to put that down. And then while that's still wet, we're going to pick up some of that, the second color that's next to it. And we're going to put that down as well. And you can see how it's just mingling together. And I think that is really pretty. So you can use even more water. Do have to remember to clean your brush in between. So we have those done. Now for these two, we have the scattered straw and the mowed lawn. So we're going to start with the yellow. And then we'll pick up some of this green. Nothing fancy here. We're just picking these colors up and then just a little getting them to merge within that triangle. And then finally our green. And because we heat embossed, and I love heat embossing when it comes to when using watercolors or doing something like this, it's like that barrier. It holds those colors within the area that we want them to be in. So here we have our peacock feathers, and now our wilted violet. So here we'll start with the wilted violet, and notice how I crossed over that line. Now we'll pick up some of that blue, and I'm taking away that harsh line of that purple. Putting in our purple. And when you put down the color, you do want to make sure that your brush is somewhat clean, but you do want to make sure that you've got that water in there. That'll help to move these colors. There we go. So we've got that, and we're going to let that dry. So I will set that aside. I'm going to move my water off my table because I will spill that, just saying. And you can see now, while we did use somewhat a lot of water, we didn't use that much. So this is drying really quickly, but I'm still going to set that aside. And we're going to pull out our card base. Here we're going to use a piece of iridescent. Cardstock. It's going to be a 5x7 card, and that's going to be our first panel that we have there. So I'm going to remove the release paper. And I'm going to stand on my tippy toes so that I can come straight down on this. If you choose, you can cut the center of your specialty cardstocks out. I chose not to this time because I wanted to make sure that my panel stayed flat. Sometimes when I cut out the center, and this is pretty thick weight iridescent paper, it's by Tonic, And I love their paper because of their thickness. I have found that my cardstock has bellowed, and yes, you could put another piece of cardstock in there. It's just something that I chose not to do for this time. So by all means, have fun and enjoy the process when we create. I am also going to use this double-sided tape on the iridescent cardstock as well. And that's because it's just that extra layer for it to stay flat. It is the one thing that I do love about this tape. And as I said, I get it from Uline. And I'm going to put my panel down, line that up. All right, so now we have our card base all set. Now I want to work on the sentiment. And the sentiments that we have are be kind, hi, hello, one moment in time. I love that sentiment. But for this one, I think I'm going to choose be kind. And I'm going to stamp this onto a piece of Bristol cardstock. And I'm going to pull my stamp positioner back in. I'll take out that corner piece. Oh my. Oh my. Hold on here. It just got hooked on something. Okay. And I think I'm going to use my obsidian black ink again. I'm not going to heat emboss it this time though. I like the look of the matte sentiment. And I'm going to trim this. I think we're going to straighten that up just a little bit. Trim that side, and we'll trim that side. I'm going to put this onto a piece of black cardstock. I have a scrap here. And I just want a very thin black border going around this. And then I'm just going to use my scissors to trim around that. And then we're going to set that right in onto the iridescent cardstock. So that could not have worked more perfectly. And then we'll just trim that away as well. And we're going to prop that up right there using some double-sided foam squares. And these release papers are very easy to remove, but for some reason, me, you know, when I'm filming, nope, they must fight me. And we're going to set that right there. And there you go. Just another way to use the stamp set that are available still in the shop. If you are interested, I will have them linked down below, but I always want to give you some inspiration. So there you go. So I hope you enjoyed this. Again, if you have a stamp set that's like this, or if it's a background stamp or anything like that, that you can create a design like this, I encourage you, pull that out. Pull out your dye inks, create a beautiful background with your inks first, splatter it up, give it that distressed look, and then just use those same colors to color those areas in to make them pop up off the page. So use what you have. Again, the product that I used will be listed down below, and if you have any questions, make sure you leave those down below and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. You can see I am starting to get some better movement in my arm. Thank you so much for everyone's happy thoughts and prayers and well wishes. I know they are working. I'm at least able to create one card a day, so yay! I think that is wonderful. So I am healing better. And for those of you that have already purchased the stamp sets, thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. I truly am grateful and I do appreciate it. And I love the fact that you are enjoying them. So thank you from the bottom of my heart to everyone. Whether you're just watching my videos, appreciating my videos, or just stopping by to say hi. Truly grateful. And remember what I always say, enjoy the process. Have fun with it. Don't get frustrated. There is no stress when we create our art, and that is what you are creating. When you have that moment, just step away and come back to it with fresh eyes, and you won't believe how differently you will see the art that you are creating. But most of all, remember, guys, always be creative, and I will talk to you in the next one. There'll be more videos coming soon. Take care and best wishes.